Hi everyone, welcome back to Be Rich. It's me and Sadhu in the studio recording for you. Yes, we spoke about the Fed rate cuts, then we dived into Nvidia and the Chinese ban on Nvidia and the implications it has not only on Nvidia, the whole tech space. Because China is a huge market, and not only the Chinese is a huge market, they control a huge amount of influence in a lot of regions of the world, and the Americans are in the constant high speed withdrawal from the world right now. So in that vacuum, the Chinese are stepping in. So American companies will find this space very hard and very competitive and very tough compared to 2008, 2009. So it is very different from the world we knew. That is what the premise of the last video was. And I did say there is, you guys can argue saying, Vinod, you know nothing about AI, you're not a techie person. So you talking about this is a waste of time. Fair enough. So that's why I wanted to talk about a guy who was in the know and a company which is in the know, which is in software, in AI, and how they muffed it and they lost an opportunity to have a strong hold on AI. Maybe would have had Indian AI. India's presence in this whole conversation would have been very different if this played out. So, what happened was around 10 years ago, OpenAI was, those of you who have been reading about OpenAI, it didn't just suddenly didn't come out of nowhere. It had an organic growth, and that organic growth was Elon Musk saw what was happening in the AI realm, and a lot of you who are Elon Musk fans, I can understand. Think the guy's a genius. He's got a lot of things right, and he's a very smart guy. I'll give him that much. So he saw what was happening in AI, and he said this is an existential threat to humanity, and we need to combat this head on. And he saw what was happening in AI and how Google was moving and buying these AI companies, small AI companies. He said we cannot afford Google and Larry to control artificial intelligence. Any one company or one human being having this kind of vast control over AI is dangerous. So he got together with his friend Peter Thiel and a couple other guys, and they funded and created OpenAI. It was a non-profit, not-for-profit organization which was created, and that seeded what became ChatGPT. So Sam Altman managed to, believe it or not, Sam Altman and Elon Musk were great friends at that point in time. Sam Altman used to sing praises about Elon, saying how he was so impressed with Elon, how he wants to be like Elon. It's not true now, but back then it was true. And Elon Musk also said, this guy is a very smart kid and knows a lot about AI, and he's saying all the things I would say about AI. So they funded him and they created OpenAI as a non-profit. And there's an Indian company which actually went and also put money inside this, believe it or not. Way back in 2015, Sadhu is also shocked. He's like, what? Way back in December 2015, an Indian company went and put money in OpenAI? What do you say? We were all caught napping, weren't we? India missed the bus, didn't we? Well, this was not the case. There was a guy who was a CEO who grew up in this ecosystem, AI ecosystem. He did a PhD in artificial intelligence before he became the CEO of an Indian IT company. And his doctoral thesis was supervised by the guy who coined the word AI, John McCarthy, his name is, right? He studied under him, and he was mentored by Marvin Minsky, the founding father of AI. So this guy was, who could see, this was in a circle of competence. And very strangely, life led him to a position where he became one of the CEOs of an Indian IT company, a non-founder CEO. That means what? He was not the first ring of guys who found the Indian IT company. He was the first outsider to become the CEO. There's a lot of promise written on this. And one of the bets he made was, he said, I can see AI coming. I studied this and I know this is coming. So he went and he pledged money into OpenAI along with Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, Amazon, and all these other guys. And he did not join this Indian IT company to run IT services. He joined this Indian IT company because he predicted AI is coming and it's going to be transformational, and India needs to be on the bandwagon. Unfortunately, back then, of course, we did not see this. Our leaders at the time in Indian IT space also did not see it. We thought, when you have 1.5 lakh software engineers working for you and you're doing services and the revenue is great, you live in your own silo and you live in your echo chamber and you cannot see beyond this. So he was considered a black sheep, and the other founding members of this company felt, no, you are wrong. And the main founding member, the man who wants us to work non-stop forever and ever, looked at him and said, Bhaiya, you are ruining my company. How dare you do this? And it led to a big fight where conservative financial management with modest compensation and proven business model, right? Investors also like me and all of us backed him because we also believed in tried and tested models. Why would we take a risk on something we do not know? Now all of us are ready to take bet on AI. All of us are ready to talk about Nvidia. Should we buy Nvidia? Imagine way back in 2015 if someone told you this. You would have probably laughed at them and saying, you are nuts. That is the laugh everyone gave him. Everyone, abused him for that. And by 2017, it became a public fight between the founding members of this company and this outside CEO who had come in. And this led to a lot of tussle. And finally, this guy was unceremoniously asked to leave. But the company had made a bet in this OpenAI, right? So, what would you expect? They would have held on to this piece, and when OpenAI shifted from a non-profit and reconfigured itself into a for-profit situation, you would have expected this company to also demand ownership for putting money in. Unfortunately, they didn't. Microsoft stepped in. Satya Nadella took 49% ownership, profit share in 2019, right? And funded this, and rest is history. This company, walked away and didn't do it. OpenAI's valuation is $500 billion now. This company's market cap is $70 billion, and this $1 billion bet they made way back today would be worth around $45 billion. They had donated it to this non-profit, right, back in 2015, and they let it sink, right? You can Google the rest. I'm not going to tell you this company name. Sadhu's itching to know this company name. It's like, Vinod, what you bring this build up and double down in the comments. If you know what company I'm talking about, put it in the comments. I would like to see how many of you knew this, because it was news to Sadhu right now. He's like, what? There was an Indian IT company which had put so much money and they could have owned so much of OpenAI, and ChatGPT would have been basically like an Indian company. What are you saying, my friend? An Indian company? And that is what this is important. This is why you should read this book. This is why it is important, because like he says here, chance, chaos, and why everything we do matters. Because the smallest thing you are doing has huge implications, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, could be life changing. It could be writing your future into wealth, or it can be making sure you're wiped out and you have nothing. And this is why, this AI space, you should tread carefully. If someone who got a PhD in it, who knew everything, had people mentoring him, and he was in a position of strength where he was a CEO of a company and he could not do anything about it. He could not convince the other founders of the company to do this, to convince them saying, this is where the future is, my friend. And we were all bogged down into thinking we should do tried and tested ways of making money. We should not. It is hard to see, where the future is, especially when you have something which you are so used to doing. So in investing, this happens, where we get so blinded by what we are doing repeatedly on a daily basis. We don't see these other opportunities. We don't see our blind spots. So it's important as an investor that you keep checking your blind spots and you keep revising yourself, refreshing yourself now and then. You don't have to do it every moment of every day, but you have to read and you have to expand your mind and be open to other points of view, even if you don't agree with them. And this world needs this right now. We all seem to be thinking the other person is wrong and we are right, and we want to sit like that. And that is what repeated this kind of thought process has led to world being fractured the way we are. We're all living in silos and we are finding it very hard to reach across and shake hands and see the other person on the other side is a human being who has feelings just like you and me. I know this is getting a little philosophical, but it is a big part of investing is philosophy. It is all about mind, how we control our mind. And I'll talk about that in the next video and answer some of your questions which you have asked me about Bitcoin and gold. This series of questions, I'm sure you'll have lots of them and you'll have lots of feedback, especially a lot of you would have guessed which company I'm talking about now. I'll talk about that company also in the following week and see where Indian IT space is and how we should look at Indian IT companies. Thanks for watching the video today. I hope you had a wonderful week and weekend and you're getting ready to start the week again. Me and Sadhu will be at it tomorrow with a fresh video, with a fresh, attire, and I'll give you some fresh perspectives on US and Indian equities. Thanks for being with me on Be Rich today. See you tomorrow. Thank you.